Welcome back. Today we'll be talking about automation testing using Selenium IDE. This is going to be an interesting video because we're going to be getting started to see as how we can perform automated testing on a web application. So in order to do that, I have to go and I have to look for some application which we would be testing. There are millions and millions of applications out there on the internet which we could be testing. So it doesn't matter what domain or what industry you pick. And in our course, we'll be going with a couple of different applications which we would be testing. For now, I'm going to be choosing what is called a health insurance company. So I found a website which basically talks about providing health insurance in 11 minutes is what their challenge is that they're gonna find you companies out there who are willing to provide you with health insurance, and so these guys are like brokers, and they're gonna take some information from you, and then they're gonna be providing you with the companies out there who would be willing to do business with you depending on what area code or zip code you live in. So here we enter the zip code. It could be any zip code, so I'm going to be just quickly going and then putting a zip code here. I don't even know what this zip code is, but I guess it is a zip code in Manhattan, so I'm going to try that. And it is asking me for some information. The information which it is asking me is what is the gender and what is the date of birth and all that, right? So I go and I choose that, and I choose and I enter some random date of birth, and I hit go. What it does is it's going to come back and then it's going to tell me that, okay, in that zip code and for the data which you have provided, I found 16 plans, and the most economical is for $181.97, and here it gives me some details about it. All right, okay, very good. Okay, so we are going to automate this process. So we have to be using some tool in order to perform whatever I just performed, which is I manually entered the zip code into that box, and I entered some information into that box. And so all that information is what our script is going to enter into this application. All right, in order to do that, we have to write the script. We have to build the script. And the way we can build the script is one of the two ways. Either we write this code from scratch, and that code we will be writing in Java, and using a tool called Eclipse. We'll be writing that code, and then we have to be using some flavor of Selenium to fire those commands over this browser, and then do the automated testing for us. That's the topic which we will be covering when we get into our course. As a demo, I will be showing you as how to do the same using another tool, Selenium tool, which is Selenium IDE. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Selenium IDE. I'm going to close this browser, and I'm going to start a new browser here. And so what Selenium IDE is, it's a plugin which goes and sits on top of the Mozilla Firefox browser. It works with only Mozilla Firefox browser. It does not work with Internet Explorer or Safari or Google Chrome or any other browsers out there. So you basically have to go and then download that software from the internet. So let me find out where I could download that. So for that, I would say Selenium IDE download. There you go, and hit that. There's a link up here. When I click on that, I come to the site Selenium HQ, and here in the downloads, I could go and then download this 1.3.0. That's the version which got released on 27 September 2010. Well, in your case, you would be downloading that. In my case, I have already downloaded, and once it is downloaded, what happens is it's a small plugin which automatically gets installed over this browser, and it'll ask you to um, uh, kind of like restart your browser. You're not restarting your computer, you're just restarting your browser. And then once you do that, that is going to come and then sit here. As you can see, it is sitting here. All right. So in my case, it is installed. So in your case, you would be doing that. So you would be downloading it, and downloading would literally take about like 5 seconds. Under 5 seconds, this is going to get downloaded, and it goes and gets installed. It'll ask you to like restart the browser, and when you restart the browser, this is what you're gonna. How would you confirm that you have Selenium IDE on your machine? You're gonna go to Firefox. You're gonna go to Tools, and you will be seeing Selenium IDE here. Let's take a look at how the tool looks like. So I click on that, and the tool opens up. Here's my tool, right? And since I'd opened this tool before, so it is giving me this option. You don't have to do all of this because when you would be opening it for the first time, this is how the tool is going to look like. All right. This is how the tool is going to look like. Okay. There are a couple of things in here which we should be paying attention to. Number one, you will be entering the name or the URL of the application which you need to test or record, right? So in my previous lecture, I was doing a testing for Avis, so that's what it is showing here. So in our case, we're going to change that to eHealth Insurance. So I'm going to type eHealthInsurance.com. In fact, it's already there. Okay. So step number one, I have to type in the URL of the application which I need to test. Okay. Number two, see this red button here? That is saying that when you open it, it is already in a mode which is called the recording mode. Recording mode is it is ready to perform the actions. I mean, whatever action we perform, it is rather going to record those actions. So it is in that recording mode right now. So what kind of actions I'm going to perform? First of all, if I need to go to that site, I would be basically be typing that onto my browser, right? So imagine that that's what I have done. I have typed that and hit enter. Now, if I bring up my IDE and allow me to so that we can see what is happening as we perform some actions here, because it is in the recording mode. Okay, what kind of action I'm going to perform? If I have to manually go ahead and then do that thing which I have shown it to you, and as I'm performing those actions, it is going to record that over here. And let me do the very first thing, which is I'm going to go here and then type the zip code. I am going to randomly type a zip code which is 60502, let's say. All right. So that's the zip code which I have. I wanted to find out if there are any insurance service providers in that zip code. So I'm going to enter that zip code and do what? I'm going to click on go. And as you notice here, it did something, right? We're going to come and then talk about what is all this, right? But it did something. And what basically it has done is it has recorded my actions which I performed on the browser. While recording, it put something into what is called this command section. It put something into what is called the target section and some value, right? Now, what is this command, what is this target, and what is this value is what I will be talking about as soon as I finish entering my data or inputting the data into the application. So right now, whatever I have entered there, which is 60502, had been copied into this zip code because it traveled from that page over here. And then it is saying that probably that zip code belongs to more than one county. So we have this drop down. So in the drop down, it is saying that, okay, is this in this county or that county? Okay, I'm going to select Kane, I guess, if that word. it was. It is asking me, okay, when is this coverage starting? Doesn't matter. I'm going to say that, okay, it's starting on, let's say, excuse me. Let's say it is starting in the 15th is fine, or we could make it like the 1st of December. So that's when, let's say, it is starting. It is asking me for some information like who is this for? Is this for a male or a female? And give me their date of birth. So let's say it is for a female, and their date of birth is the browser, because I entered that information previously. That's what it is storing. So anyway, I'm just gonna enter something in here, and let's say the date of birth is that, right? I'm not going to be going into the other options here, whether they smoke or not, if they are a college student or not. I'm just going to go and hit go. But before I do that, I want you to pay attention to the fact that there are a couple of things which had happened in here. We had in the command, we had select, type, right? And then we have few things going on. All right. Let us complete this, and then we'll talk about what those things are. Okay, I'm going to hit go here. And as I do that, it is thinking, and then it comes back. And here we found 87 plans, and as low as $43.04. Okay, all right. So it did something in here. Okay, very good. Now it's time to kind of like close the browser, right? And take a look into what it had done here, right? I'm going to make it a little easier on our eyes so that we pay attention to what it did. Okay, now if you take a look into this first line, it said it is opening. It is opening. Opening what? It is opening a browser, right? It is opening a browser and going to this address. The address there is ehealthinsurance.com. What does this forward slash means? Forward slash means that I don't have any other page to go within that site, because in a site you could have a page inside a page inside, a folder, and inside that folder you have one more folder, and then you have your page. So here it's saying that, okay, I'm going to the root here. I'm going to the base URL. Okay, so it opens the browser to that base URL. And then after that, it says that the command it performs is it types, right? It is typing. It is typing what? It is typing the value, which is 60502, but typing where? It is typing, the target is where part. So it is typing into what is called ID equals zip. And the question is, what is this ID equals zip, and how would you find out that this ID is zip or something else, right? How would you find it out? Well, for that, we have to know a little bit about on that page, there are what is called elements or objects. Now, what is an element? What is an object? If you, we have been using, or we have been going on websites for a long time, I guess. And when you go to a website, we take things for granted. But let me just quickly draw and then show you something, and then we come back, and then we discuss about what it is. So on any website, on any page on a website, what you have is usually this is your website, and in your website, in our case, we had enter the zip code, right? And we had a box there, and in that we were entering a zip code 60502. I don't even remember what that zip code was, but we entered in there. There were things in there. There were some picture. There was a picture here, and there were some links there. These are all like links, and then there was a button, like go button, right? So what these individual things which are there on the browser, this which is an image, right? That can also be called as an object or as an element, right? This where we entered, whatever we entered, That's a text box object, right? This is a button object, right? Now, so a website will have page or pages, many pages, right? And on each page, on every page or each page, what do you have? You have many, many objects. And what are those objects? Objects, the example of an object is a text box or a button or an image, right? Or there is something called, if let's say on a different page, on the next page we notice that there was something like that, right? And in there we had county information, right? So this control, what you see, this object, right, is basically a select or a drop down, right? So bottom line here is, on a page, right, on a web page, you will have objects. So that's an object, that's an object, that's an object. So how do you identify objects, right? So you identify how, or you distinguish one object from the other object if you know its what is called properties. So objects, they have they have they have properties, right? To give you an example, I am an object and you are an object. What kind of an object I am? This is a picture. This is a picture or an image object. This is a text box object. This is a button object. So me, right, or you, we are human objects, right? As we said that every object has properties, so humans, right, they also have properties. So how do you identify one human from the other human, right? So we have properties. What properties? We have something called name, and we have something called social security number. We have something called, these are attributes or properties. So to distinguish one object from the other object, if we know their properties, right, it is easy for us to distinguish between these two objects because they're both human. They're both human. So likewise, on a page, if you have more than one text box, right? Because this is also a text box and this is also a text box. How are you going to identify, or how are you going to distinguish between this and this? If you know the properties of this text box, and if you know the properties of that text box, or how would you distinguish between these two humans? If you know the property of this and if you know the property of that. What property? If you know the name. So in my case, if somebody calls me by my name, right, I will respond to that, right? And let's say you and me, we are sitting in the same room, and if somebody calls me by my name, I'm gonna, respond to that individual because he called my name. Likewise, on this page, there are two text boxes. If I need to do something with this text box, I need to address that text box by its property, some property, right? So what is that property? That property is going to be, let's say, ID, right? That property could be name. That property could be anything, right? So that's basically what we were looking at when we were talking about when we were looking into this ID. ID equals zip. So that's the property of that object. Now, in the next one, when it said click and wait, and click and wait is a command. So we type is a command, meaning that you enter something into it, you type into it. So I am typing into a text box which has got a name or an ID equals zip, and then the value which I typed was 60502. Likewise, I am clicking and waiting, right? That's the command which I give. But clicking and waiting on what? On there is something called CSS equals input btn go dash btn, right? And I'm not passing any value because it's a clicking, right? So now the question is, how does it know how to get these properties, right? How to get these properties? Okay, now since it is a recording, since Selenium IDE is recording, it has got a built-in mechanism to go and read the properties. We don't see the properties in the browser, right? But behind the scenes, right? Behind the scenes, there are let's say if I go in here and if I go to that page, if I go to if I let's say any page, if I go to, right? If I go to a page and if I need to see some of the properties like this, that, if I need to see the properties, right now it doesn't say what is the name of that, doesn't say what is the name of that, doesn't say what is the name of that. But if I go into something called page source, it there's a lot of code in here. There's a lot of code in here. We don't have to worry about, how they might have written the code and all that, because it's the developers, it's the programmers who will be writing the code. But here I would be able to find out, the name and the properties and all that. I will be able to find out. Now you might say, what are you talking about? How would you do that? There's so many things in here. I don't know these things. How can I? Okay, you don't have to worry about it, because there are tools out there which will help you find out the properties of an object. All right. So, so far we know that, what is an object and all that. So we also know that objects will have properties. And so now the question is how to find out the properties of an object. For that, there are tools there, right? There are tools out there called Firebug. In my next presentation, I'm gonna show you how to use Firebug, right? And how to find out the properties of that. Right now, we were just talking about like recording a script and see if that script, how to record a script using Selenium IDE and how to run that script again. So we just finished recording the script, right? So we recorded the script. Now, if I need to run this script again, right, and see if it is performing the same actions which it is supposed to perform, can I do that? Sure, I can do that. So I'm gonna go and then I'm gonna click on play the current test case. Right. By the way, whatever we have recorded, that is a test case. I never saved that, so it's still showing me untitled. That's fine, but I'm gonna run that test case. So if I run that test case, what it is going to do is behind the scenes, see, it did open and it is doing it. Now you would say that, oh, where did it enter the information and all that, right? So it went so fast that we were not able to see it, but it did do that. How do I know that it completed that? That's because I see a green there. I see a green there. That means that it did ran, and then everything was fine. There were no failures, right? And all of this light green will tell me that it did run, right? Now, if you don't believe me, if you don't trust me when I say that, okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is I'll prove it to you. How am I going to prove it to you? Okay, I'm just gonna close this browser, let's say, and see here. This is like fast and slow. Now it was at the fastest, right? So that's why it did so fast that we were not able to see. So I'm just gonna, bring it down to like slow, right? Not too slow, but then, okay, slow. And now I'm gonna run it again and see what it does, right? So basically, when I run it, it is trying, and see here down here, it is doing something. It is doing something. That means that it is performing those things, but I am not looking into that, right? Because my browser was not open, so it is performing those things, and I was not able to look into that, right? So what I am going to do is it did finish that. So I will start a browser. I will start a new instance of the browser. This is my new instance of the browser, right? So that we could see that it would perform the actions over here, and then I'll tell it to do it again. So if I do that, hopefully here it is, right? So as you can see, it is typing that, now it did click on the button, and then it is going to perform that, and then it came back with 87 tests. So again, it is green and everything. So one more time, here it is, right? And I'm gonna bring this here. So see that it came to that page, it came over here, and then now it is typing into it, and then all that is happening because it is running this script. Now if you see, while it was running, let me make it a little slower here, more slow, right? And this browser is caching the information. The browser is caching the information. This information is cached, so that's why you are not seeing what it is entering. So here is what I am going to do now, right? I am going to change. I am going to just go back in here, and either empty the cache, right? Either empty the cache, which is like go here and then clear the recent history and all that, and then all that information is gonna get clear, right? And if I close the browser and open it again, that information hopefully should go away because I'm clearing the cache. Or just to prove it to myself that it is not entering the same information, I could have entered some other information in it, and so the information is not here, right? Information is not here. Now let us see if it does it. So I'm gonna click on that and see if it puts that information in here, right? There it is, 60502. Now it went to the other page. The information is not here. It is putting the information, as you can see, putting that information. It did click on that, and then it is running it, and then so that all the execution did happen, and the test is passed. Okay. I want to keep this short. I want to keep it around like 20-25 minutes, so that's why I will end it here. But in my next video, I'm gonna take it from here and then walk you through by changing this information, and then see how it behaves when we change this information. As we change this information, will it put the different information in here or not? That's what we'll be looking into in our next video. Again, thank you so much. And if you're already a student of this course, I want you to keep practicing. You should be going and then downloading Selenium IDE, and then you should go ahead and then try and work on the same application or try on a different application. It doesn't matter, but you will have some sort of reference in the form of this video if you work on the same application. If you get stuck at some point, you could come back and then take a look into this video and see how I might have done. So I would say that in the beginning, just follow the instructions of what you see in the video here, and then in my class, I will be doing a different project or hopefully something different, a different application. So you would have multiple applications to work on, right? So again, the bottom line here is you watching something is good. You'll feel good about it, but then you have to put your hands on, and then you have to learn it. So we'll see you back again on a different video very soon. If you're already a student, go keep practicing. If you're not a student, if you're seeing it on YouTube, we suggest you go to TrainingRite.com and look into our different courses we offer. And if this generates any interest in you, then you should enroll into one of our courses if you want to. All right. Till we see you in the next video, be happy, be safe, and keep practicing Selenium. Thank you.